Maybe you've been playing Marvel's Avengers game and saw a giant head floating in a chair, or heard the news that M.O.D.O.K, the Marvel Studios animated series for Hulu, just debuted its logo ahead of the virtual New York Comic-Con 2020 panel. The TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to feature him at one point, and Keith David was going to play him on the now canceled show called New Warriors. So who is M.O.D.O.K? Let's talk about him. But before we do, I want to say thank you for watching JL's Comics. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. I upload videos just like this each and every week. Okay, let's jump into our story. Created by the legendary duo of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, M.O.D.O.K first appeared in 1967's Tales of Suspense comic books with issues 93 and 94. There, we find Captain America with a S.H.I.E.L.D. underwater mini-cruiser on the watery trail of a mysterious S.H.I.E.L.D. agent he only knows as Agent 13. He was captivated by her allure and her beauty and her resemblance to someone he knew named Peggy Carter. This would turn out to be Sharon Carter, and this is the mission where they fell in love. Cap took his submersible to a base in a submarine owned by a company named Advanced Idea Mechanics, AIM. The AIM foot soldiers and scientists at the base captured Captain America to perform tests on him and on his shield, all the while commenting on a fearsome leader they called M.O.D.O.K. Okay, let's pause here so we can back up a bit. We need to go over a couple things first that are critical to understanding what's happening in the story. And really, M.O.D.O.K himself. AIM has its roots in World War II when Baron von Strucker created an evil organization known as Hydra. Both AIM and Secret Empire began as branches of Hydra, with AIM being the weapons R&D arm. The head of AIM was given the title of Scientist Supreme. Von Strucker had a governing body called Them, with a Grand Imperator at its head, which governed all of Hydra and all of its arms. Them directed the AIM division to revive a World War II-era Nazi sympathizer named Red Skull from suspended animation. Later, Red Skull hired AIM to create a cosmic cube. Now, the cosmic cube is the Tesseract in the MCU, the cube which contains the Space Stone, one of the Infinity Gems. In comic books, the cosmic cube is a device which opens up a portal to a dimension where unimaginably powerful beings known as Beyonders reside. And this portal allows the holder of the cosmic cube to access all of that energy and all of that power and use it for themselves. The scientist supreme at AIM during the time Project Cosmic Cube was initiated was Dr. Lyle Getz. And Getz quickly realized that he needed a way to study and test the Cosmic Cube. They needed some way to process and analyze the massive amounts of data and information flowing in and out of the cube. So Getz developed an ancillary project named Project M.O.D.O.K. He then selected one of his scientists named George Tarleton to be the test subject. Tarleton underwent mutagenic procedures for Project M.O.D.O.K, which deformed his body. His cranium and his skull grew so large his body was no longer able to support it. So AIM built Tarleton a chair that would later be called the Doomsday Chair. This helped Tarleton support his head, but was also a way to amplify his new abilities because he was plugged right into it. And with all that energy and data transferring through his brain, Tarleton was driven mad. His computing found that life was an unnecessary variable and he needed to kill to balance the equation. So less than an hour after his creation, M.O.D.O.K murdered Getz to take control of AIM, becoming Scientist Supreme himself, and he became the mental organism designed only for killing. So now that you know that, we head back to M.O.D.O.K's first appearance, where Agent 13 tells Captain America that she was on assignment from S.H.I.E.L.D. to learn who or what M.O.D.O.K is. She said there is someone or something named M.O.D.O.K which may be the greatest menace the world has ever known. But the AIM employees on the submarine were working for M.O.D.O.K now more out of fear than loyalty. They didn't want to be killed like Dr. Getz was. Despite that, they betrayed M.O.D.O.K, freeing Captain America so he'd fight M.O.D.O.K and that would allow them to get free. But that's when Captain America first ran into M.O.D.O.K as he was blasted to the ground by a massive blast from M.O.D.O.K's new brain beam. On their escape, the AIM agents destroyed M.O.D.O.K's chair and left him for dead. Cap and Agent 13 left with the AIM guys in an escape pod, and as they reached the shore, a massive blast erupted in the offshore waters where the sub once was, seemingly killing M.O.D.O.K in the process. But he in fact survived by creating a force field around himself. He then had frequent run-ins with Captain America, Red Skull, Namor, Dr. Doom, Iron Man, and the Incredible Hulk as he continued to snuff out his competition and AIM's competition, and as he continued to try to seize all power and control for himself. For example, he wanted a scientist to steal the cosmic cosmic cube back from Red Skull so they could depower it so it wouldn't be used against M.O.D.O.K. He frequently fought against Captain America, as Cap represented everything that M.O.D.O.K could never be again. In one fight, a Harlem tenement building was collapsed down right on top of M.O.D.O.K, and he was thought dead once more. However, by Submariner issue 48, it was revealed that he yet again narrowly escaped death, and in fact had retreated to a secret base off of New Orleans where he had built himself an android army. Although our heroes didn't know this because he was hiding out on the base. But Namor and Dr. Doom teamed up, and they went to the base to steal the cosmic cube. The android army captured Namor, and then M.O.D.O.K and Dr. Doom fought a ferocious battle of brains and might. And it turns out that M.O.D.O.K wanted to transfer his mind and consciousness into Namor's body using the cosmic cube. Namor ended up destroying M.O.D.O.K's new chair, and then the cosmic cube itself. And as they flew away, Dr. Doom said that they would never see M.O.D.O.K again, but we know how that's turned out a couple times already. After Namor defeated M.O.D.O.K, M.O.D.O.K came to the conclusion that his brains weren't enough to be superior. He had agents all over the globe, but he had feeding him information constantly. But then he had 108 AIM scientists build him a massive mech suit. At the same time, he also captured Betty Ross, General Ross's daughter, and his plan for her was to turn her into a Hulk, which he did, and she was called Harpy, and he had her fight the Incredible Hulk. You see, Hulk was a threat to M.O.D.O.K's power, but he needed someone with the equal might to match him and bring him down. However, this plan, of course, failed. Later, now calling himself M.O.D.O.K the Merciless, as a tribute to Ming the Merciless, he was a large part of the War of the Supervillains in which he fought Black Llama. During this war, the Mad Thinker, who was teaming up with Black Llama, tried to control Iron Man in his suit and force him to fight M.O.D.O.K. But M.O.D.O.K killed the Mad Thinker, and now controlling Iron Man for himself, set his sights on Black Llama. And when he did that, Black Llama transported them all to China and to the fortress of Yellow Claw, where Yellow Claw actually dropped M.O.D.O.K down a pit, and M.O.D.O.K and his mech body were destroyed at the bottom of the pit, and once again, thought dead. S.H.I.E.L.D., though, later reported that M.O.D.O.K was still alive. Somehow he keeps defying death because, that's comics. Iron Man teamed up with the Champions, though, to bring him down. After the war with Mad Thinker and Black Llama, M.O.D.O.K lost control of AIM. But by the time Iron Man and the Champions caught up with him, he managed to regain control of AIM's West Coast operations. So we got some of that power back. While he was stealing power from AIM, he was stealing power and energy from the power grid all up and down the west coast of America, but a blast from Iron Man put a stop to that plot. M.O.D.O.K then set his sights on Carol Danvers next, whom he managed to capture. M.O.D.O.K wanted to learn the secrets of her alien costume in order to create an army of Miss Marvels for himself. So he subjected Miss Marvel to his Mind Ripper weapon, and in her mind, she fought M.O.D.O.K. But then M.O.D.O.K became this tall, handsome man, and they made love. Yep, that happened. Miss Marvel ended up escaping, so M.O.D.O.K sent Deathbird after her. And it turns out that not only did M.O.D.O.K want full control of AIM, but he also wanted AIM's hidden ICBM missile, which was in the Bronx. He was going to use that to shoot himself into space to take over NASA's Advanced Skylab orbital station. His plans are always really convoluted. As M.O.D.O.K launched himself skywards, though, Deathbird died, and Carol pressed an abort button, and the missile blew up. When Carol got to the escape capsule, though, it was empty. Once again, M.O.D.O.K escaped. In Marvel Team Up issue 104, M.O.D.O.K, now called the punny Mr. Chairman, ran into Kazar in the Savage Land as M.O.D.O.K's next plot was to create an army of dinosaurs. He was defeated, though, and turned over to the authorities. M.O.D.O.K then turned his operations to germ warfare. He happened to capture a bunch of tramps, bag ladies, and Ben Grimm of the Fantastic Four to experiment on them with his Virus X. Namor showed up to help the Thing and had a rematch with M.O.D.O.K. Continuing to try to either eliminate or employ all threats or challenges to his power, M.O.D.O.K then decided to break Abomination out of cryostasis at General Thunderbolt Ross's Project Earthfall, so Abomination could take out the Hulk, because it didn't happen when he sent Ross's daughter Harpy after the Hulk. By this time, M.O.D.O.K was once again ousted from AIM. He was basically operating his own Splinter Cell now. AIM, though, created a new M.O.D.O.K, using Dr. Kate Waynesboro as the test subject. But this backfired as M.O.D.O.K and Miss M.O.D.O.K were immediately attracted to each other, and just a few panels later, they wanted to marry, but then just a few panels after that, they fought. Miss M.O.D.O.K was knocked back onto the transformation platform, which turned her back into her human form once more. Later, the Serpent Society was hired to kill M.O.D.O.K. Diamondback and Bushmaster found him hiding out, still exiled from AIM, in an undersea AIM station. Captain America showed up as two of the Serpent Society slit M.O.D.O.K's throat. They brought his body to a morgue for an autopsy, but the Serpent Society stole his body and brought it back to AIM. In Iron Man 205, we learned that the current AIM Scientist Supreme and his brother were fighting. AIM wanted to turn M.O.D.O.K into an organism designed only for computing again, but the Scientist Supreme's brother, Yorgon, wanted to turn him into a weapon to kill Iron Man, which would prove that he should be Scientist Supreme instead of his brother. It was a whole civil war. At the end of the fight with Iron Man, M.O.D.O.K purposely blew up a fuel line, blowing himself to bits to avoid capture. Now with M.O.D.O.K dead, another female M.O.D.O.K, also an AIM experiment, showed up in 1988's West Coast Avengers with issue 36. At first, it was believed to be Hank Pym's first wife Maria until Quasar issue 9 in 1990, where her acronym became M.O.D.O.M, and she was now known to be one's Olenka Barankova. In the mid-90s, AIM was doing experiments on their island called Boca Caliente under orders from M.O.D.O.M. But then, as part of the same story, M.O.D.O.M was defeated by M.O.D.O.K, who was now resurrected and now upgraded with more offensive weapons. It turns out that AIM had decided to bring M.O.D.O.K back to life to breach a trans-dimensional warp hole created by the cosmic cube that they now had again and seal the breach. That was his sole purpose, but M.O.D.O.K overrode that programming. And later, Wolverine and Alpha Flight infiltrated one of M.O.D.O.K's AIM facilities, and they beat M.O.D.O.K, who, yes, escaped once again just before this installation blew up. Later, M.O.D.O.K was somehow trapped in another dimension due to one of his experiments. AIM brought him back to Earth 616 and they started fully working together again, even reviving a monster called Orgo. M.O.D.O.K then decided to go quote-unquote legitimate by turning AIM into a legal global conglomerate called Advanced Corporation. He had hired a corporate saboteur and mercenary named Ghost to destroy the competition by sending out mind-control email bombs. Iron Man forced Ghost to phase his hand through M.O.D.O.K's face, stopping him once more, but was he dead? No. A few years later, M.O.D.O.K showed up in the first issue of Dan Slott's She-Hulk book where the Avengers destroyed M.O.D.O.K's orbital space platform. He was trying to freeze the planet so he and his forces of AIM could take it over, but She-Hulk showed up and M.O.D.O.K fled. In the 5th volume of Captain America with the 8th issue, which came out in 2005, we meet soldiers created by AIM called the Military Operatives designed only for combat, M.O.D.O.K with a C. As a group, they were the M.O.D.O.K Squad. That same year in Captain America and the Falcon, Admiral Westbrook of America's Office of Naval Intelligence was using Rivas drug cartel labs as cover for his own M.O.D.O.K DNA experiments. Westbrook was operating a PSYOPs program where he'd send out mental images of M.O.D.O.K to terrorize former AIM agents. And at the end of the story, the head, another pun, of the Rivas drug cartel got a head like M.O.D.O.K and was revealed that M.O.D.O.K's consciousness was actually inside of Damocles Rivas. After a Hulk rampage, Falcon, Cap, and Agent Morales were able to subdue M.O.D.O.K and put him into a stasis chamber. A short while after this, a civil war was raging within AIM once more, with certain factions opposed to the current Scientist Supreme named Monica Rappaccini. She happened to have a DNA bomb which M.O.D.O.K wanted to steal. It turns out that the experiment that Dr. Getz conducted on him was breaking down his DNA, and he was dying. But Monica's DNA bomb would be able to rewrite his genes and erase the degradation, which would thereby keep him alive. And he did survive, and he went on to work yet again with General Ross, now working on a gamma-powered super soldier program. And after the Skrull invasion of an event called Secret Invasion, Norman Osborn controlled Hammer, a S.H.I.E.L.D. replacement agency, along with putting former Thunderbolt members like Karla Sofen, aka Moonstone, in the place of the Avengers. In this case, Sofen replaced Carol Danvers' Ms. Marvel. Norman sent Sofen to investigate a rogue AIM splinter cell where she found a batch of embryonic M.O.D.O.Ks, whom AIM grew as the next generation of storytellers, which are beings whose power was inspired by the Scarlet Witch and the reality warping she did during the House of M event. Sofen developed a psychic link with the babies and ended up rescuing them from the facility. After meeting with Osborn's Dark Avengers, the babies were moved to Thunderbolt Mountain. However, AIM and Monica Rappaccini hired Deadpool to steal the babies back. In Incredible Hulk issue 610, after his Scorched Earth campaign, M.O.D.O.K was depowered for the final time. M.O.D.O.K had kept a group of clones of his brain around that he used to amplify his mental processing power. Planning for various contingencies, he allowed one of his brains to be used for another purpose. Surrounded by his LMDs, the procedure was completed, and yes, a clone of M.O.D.O.K rose up, calling itself M.O.D.O.K Superior. Shortly afterwards, Spider-Woman was in Wakanda, investigating a Space Knight, but M.O.D.O.K Superior captured her and the Space Knight and took them to an AIM lab. The Avengers showed up, though, to rescue Spider-Woman. And this is when Thor fought with M.O.D.O.K, and the Space Knight turned out to be none other than Ultron. He He was arrested, and his plot was foiled. In Secret Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Maria Hill worked with M.O.D.O.K. and his rogue scientists to bring down the Scientist Supreme, Monica. Still, with a contract secured, M.O.D.O.K. got a S.H.I.E.L.D.-sanctioned laboratory. But this was all a plot to kill Maria Hill, Nick Fury, and Phil Coulson, and take down S.H.I.E.L.D. Before he could carry out the plans, though, M.O.D.O.K. realized he was falling in love with Maria Hill, but Coulson and Hawkeye caught up with him, and they worked together to stop M.O.D.O.K.'s agent, who was still going after Maria Hill. When the multiverse was destroyed and all that remained was Doctor Doom's battle world, M.O.D.O.K. became M.O.D.O.K. Assassin under Baron Mordo, the Baron of Killville. And once the world was reformed after Secret Wars, M.O.D.O.K. came out of retirement, started a mercenary organization called the Mercenary Organization dedicated only to killing, and he forced Gwenpool to join his team after killing her friend Cecil. His agents of M.O.D.O.K. were mercenaries, only for killing, but killing evil people. Eventually, Gwenpool defeated M.O.D.O.K. by summoning her dead friend Cecil's ghost, who shot M.O.D.O.K. in his chair into space, which is when Gwen became the head of M.O.D.O.K. Well, not really the head, you know what I mean, another pun. I'll stop that. So later, with M.O.D.O.K. back on Earth, he was working with the Intelligentsia, with villains like Mad Thinker, the Wizard, Ulysses Claw, but then Victor Von Doom as infamous Iron Man started hunting them down. In West Coast Avengers, we got a M.O.D.O.K., a biorobotic organism designed overwhelmingly for kissing, and he planted a wet one on Kate Bishop, as Gwenpool, Quentin Quire, Miss America, and Fuse looked on. M.O.D.O.K., as you guessed, was M.O.D.O.K. in disguise, and by the 4th issue of that series, M.O.D.O.K. was back to his deformed self. After War Machine, U.S. Agent, Mockingbird, and Quake of 2020 ForceWorks defeated an army of Deathlocks and a massive robot called Ultimo, M.O.D.O.K. revealed himself as the newest member. It turns out that M.O.D.O.K. made the Deathlocks to stop Ultimo, which ForceWorks helped him do, and M.O.D.O.K. became Ultimo.O.K. War Machine plugged into the Deathlocks to command them to swarm M.O.D.O.K., whom they dragged into a chasm of molten lava, defeated. And that is where we leave M.O.D.O.K. in early fall 2020. Giant body, little head, dissolving in magma. And with that, that's a wrap on this one, my friends. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you can be one of the first to know when I upload videos just like this each and every week. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.